All right, so talking through the 2.1 worksheet. So this whole section was all about translations, which was us taking an entire shape and shifting it either left or right and up and down. Okay, so with this one right here, so on the worksheet, this is number 1. Okay, so our instructions tell us to graph each figure and then the image under the given translation. So number 1 tells us this: triangle PQR with vertices listed at P, which is at 0, -3, Q at 5, -6, and R at 0, 4, under a translation of left 2 units and up 1 unit. Okay, so what we are going to do is first I went through and given the 3 points I already know, I went ahead and labeled them in black, creating our original triangle, our triangle PQR. So P, Q, and R being right there. So that's our pre-image. Okay, and next I looked at my translation. My translation tells me I need to go left 2 units and up 1 unit. So you can do this either looking at the points or looking at the figure. I find it a little bit easier looking at the figure. So if I start with point P right here and I go 1, 2 to the left and up 1, then I've got this new point right here, P prime. And then I went ahead and wrote down my coordinate -2, -2 for my P prime. Okay, then I go through and I do the same things with Q. So left 2, up 1, and for R, left 2 and up 1. And I list my new points. So I had Q prime was at 3, -5. I had R prime was at -2, 5. Okay, and then this last thing, I actually accidentally wrote these coordinates right here. Really, just write your coordinates about right here up over on the side. And then this thing right here, the coordinate form, what that thing is actually for is it wants this thing right here. It's like your translation vector. Okay, so basically your original x, y, and then the thing you did to change your x, y, you moved x 2 in the negative direction or 2 to the left, and you moved y 1 in the positive direction, or you moved y up 1. All right, so next up, so number 6. Number 6 tells me under the translation vector of xy goes to x -4, y +5, triangle ABC has translated vertices of A prime, B prime, and C prime. So find the coordinates of A, B, and C. So what this question is telling me, it tells me that I've got some original triangle, triangle ABC, and after it went through the translation of x -4, so 4 to the left, and y +5, so moving y up 5. So after it's gone through this translation, my new points wound up being at A prime, B prime, and C prime. And it wants me to work backwards to determine what was my original A, B, and C. Well, so here's what we're going to do with each point. So I'm going to take my A prime points, which is -8, 5, and I'm going to put them over here. So here's my -8 and my 5. Now I know that after I did x -4 to my original, that it equaled -8. So I'm going to set it up just like that. X -4 is equal to -8. I know that after I took my original y and I added 5, that I wound up with 5. So I'm going to set up that equation. Y plus 5 equals 5. And so I'm going to go through and I'm going to solve for x and for y. So here I add my 4 over and I get x is -4. Here I subtract my 5 over and I get that y is equal to 0. So this right here, -4, 0, represents my original A point. And again, if you were then to just go back through and check your work, so you had -4 and then you subtracted 4, you'd wind up at -8. If you had 0 and you added 5, you'd wind up back at 5. So A is originally at -4, 0. Then you go through and you set up the same thing with your B and your C. So for B, you had x -4 is equal to 2 because of that 2 right there. You had y plus 5 is equal to 7 because of that 7 right there. You solve for x and y, and you should have got your original B to be at 6, 2. And then same thing for C. X -4 is equal to 3. Y plus 5 is equal to 1. Solve for x, solve for y, and you should have gotten 7, -4 for your original C. Now we're going to look at number 9. So number 9 on the 2.1 worksheet tells me a translation maps A at -4, 3 onto A prime 2, 5. So find the coordinates of point B prime, which is the image of B, which is at -1, -2, under the same translation. So breaking down what this problem is telling me. So it's telling me that there was a translation that occurred, and when point A went through the translation, it wound up at 2, 5. So now it's also telling me that point B right here went through the same translation and wound up at B prime. So it wants to know, how can I find B prime? Well, first I need to determine what was the translation that took me from A to A prime. So I need to start with my A, which is at -4, and then I went to 2 in my x's. So how did I get from -4 to 2? And if you count on your number line, that means that you had to go 6 to the right, or x plus 6. And then going from 3 to 5, that means I had to go up 2. So my translation vector from A to A prime is x plus 6, y plus 2. So now we're talking about point B. So point B went through the same translation as point A. So that tells me that point B has got to go through this translation, x plus 6, y plus 2. So I take -1, add 6, and I wind up at 5. I take -2 and add 2, and I wind up at 0. So my B prime point should be at 5, 0, assuming that I went through the same translation as A did to A prime.